What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan, and today we're going to be talking about all of the newest news with the 2023 Nissan Z. I'm going to show you everything that's been coming out, and I'm also going to give you an update on my car in my order with my dealership. So guys, stick around and enjoy this clip.
Awesome entering all new Nissan Z on GT radial tires. Let's see what you got here. Forsberg going against Meyer in the chase position. Initiates now into that first outside zone. Slowly kind of works his way out there. Now snaps into that second outside zone. Meyer tucking in the smoke. Oh man, look at the pressure that Meyer's got. Nice to have BC Racing go for gold. Meyer looking very comfortable at 86. He does impede on that inside clip, but man.
This weekend, Chris Forsberg debuted his 2023 Nissan Z drift car as his race car in the Formula Drift competition for 2022. The first race was in Long Beach, and he did really good for having a car they were literally putting together as they rolled up to the paddock for the weekend. But you know, he didn't get first, second, or third, but overall, it's awesome to see the car out there in the wild, and with a new platform, a new car, it's just really awesome. Another great thing was that the car had a full body kit. But the question is, who did the body kit? I know that the aftermarket is going to go absolutely wild for the things that people make for this car, but it looks like Street Hunter Designs was the first company to release a body kit for this car because they worked with Chris Forsberg. And if you didn't know, Street Hunter Designs is made by TJ Hunt, who is a fellow YouTuber that pretty much everyone knows. But I think the design came out really cool. It's a little bit more subtle and a little bit more classy than some people might expect from something like Rocket Bunny or one of those other companies, but I think it looks really nice. Initially, I think people thought it was a little bit too tame with Chris Forsberg's livery kind of, you know, hiding the body kit, but I think that with this clean look without the livery, it really does accentuate, you know, the nice shape of the car. So I think it turned out really good, and this is also the drift spec, which doesn't include the side skirts, the front splitter, the rear diffuser, and some other things. So I'm sure this kit is going to get even more aggressive as time goes on. Me personally, I would love to see somebody make a swan neck spoiler for this car. Not a hot boy one that you see on all the 370, 350Zs. I want a classy one like the GT4 RS or Porsche GT3. I'm sure somebody will make it, and hopefully they make one soon and I can get my hands on one. So I want to go back to Chris Forsberg's car that he made for Formula Drift because he made a YouTube series of him building that exact car. Chris Forsberg was one of the first people to get the car in their hands before it was even available to the public. So he got a brand new car that was not available, tore it down to literally nothing, and made a drift car from the ground up. So it's a really interesting series. It's 8 videos so far, and I personally watched it so I could see the differences between the new car and maybe a 370Z chassis. I know that originally Nissan was releasing that the chassis was very similar to the 370Z, and I think a lot of people were a little bit worried about that. I think people were like, why am I going to buy a brand new car if it has an old chassis in it? And, you know, I tend to agree, but let me give you this little bit of history. So when the Porsche 992 came out, Porsche announced that it was going to have the same chassis as the Porsche 991. And the chassis in the 991 was derived from the Porsche 997. And so people were thinking, oh, well, we should have this new car and it should have a new chassis with new technology. And so Porsche released a technical brief that explained the reasoning for this. And it shows how you can take a classic chassis or chassis design and improve it with advanced construction materials, glues, different types of welding, and really strengthening that structure. You can have a really great foundation for any car. So hopefully Nissan took this as a lesson and just tried to make the chassis that is already existing as good as possible. Hopefully they use different, you know, construction methods, different glues, different materials, different welding methods to really strengthen that chassis while still keeping the meat and potatoes the same. And if they did that, I think I'd be pretty happy with that, and I think we all can hope for that. So I think we're just gonna have to wait and see and get the opinions from people when the car has already been released. But fingers crossed that Nissan decided to make the chassis even better while keeping the same architecture. The SEMA show on their YouTube channel had the car in for a measurement session for all of the aftermarket people looking to make parts for this car. I love that they documented this, and they invited a bunch of different influencers there to measure the car and check out all the things. And they confirmed as well that the suspension is very similar to the 370Z, that the chassis is very similar to the 370Z, but I'm hoping they put those development dollars in the dampers and the geometry of the suspension, and of course, everything to do with that new engine they put in there. One lucky YouTuber this week got to take a ride in the brand new 2023 Z, and they did a really good job of documenting from the interior cabin what it's like to ride in the car. So check out that clip. And so, as you can see, the car sounds really, really good, and actually I'm really pleased with the engine note from this video, so hopefully that carries over into real life. But also the interior looks great, the car looks like it rides smooth, and it looks like it's got some good punch, especially when you hit the gas a couple times. So I think this is definitely promising, and I wish we had seen more of that, recently. Hopefully some of our favorite journalists will get their hands in the car and we can get some really in-depth reviews of the car. That's got to be coming soon, right? Right? So without further ado, let's talk about my car and my order. I called my dealership 2 days ago and I asked them for an update. I'm like, hey, it's been 3 months. Do we have any kind of information at all? Because originally they didn't have hardly any information. And not much has changed, unfortunately. So I talked to them 2 days ago and they said that they're expecting deliveries at the end of April, and I don't know, I'm not very optimistic about that. I don't think we're going to have our first cars at the end of April. Maybe the first cars will come off the line at the end of April, the first production cars, but I think I'm going to get my car in the middle of June. That's just what I estimate. And actually, a couple weeks ago, a timeline was put online of where people think the car is going to be released at different intervals. I'm not sure if this was a leaked document or if this is just a fan-made document, but I actually agree with a lot of things on this timeline. Basically, it's saying that the media is going to get the car in April, which we're already seeing with Chris Forsberg, and we're probably going to see that with some more journalists coming up soon. And then they say that first deliveries are going to be in June, and I do agree with that. I think that's going to be a really realistic time frame. So I'm crossing my fingers for that June delivery, and I'm also crossing my fingers for a white car with a blue interior, and we'll see if that's possible. I did talk to my dealer and ask them, hey, how are you going to help me get my car that I want to get with my options? And they basically told me that the same thing they've been telling me this whole time is that orders are not going to be possible for this car. It's such a high volume car, and they have so many dealerships that sending out orders is not what they're going to do. They're basically just going to send the dealerships whatever allocation that they get. That's just going to be whatever spec they decide, and then it's up to the dealerships to trade and barter with each other to help meet client expectations for builds. So basically, if I tell my dealership, hey, I want a white car with a blue interior with a performance pack and blah, 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 my dealership needs to go and either hope that they get that exact spec, or they need to go hunting through the other dealerships that don't have somebody that wants that car, but they have that car coming to their dealership. So it's going to be a complicated process, and I'm not hopeful that I'm going to get the exact car that I want, which is kind of unfortunate, but at least they've been upfront with me ever since the beginning. So I'm expecting that. That's what I've been told, and yeah, so we'll just have to see how the cookie crumbles. So I am number 7 on the list at my dealership to get it, so there are some people ahead of me, so we'll just have to see how it goes. So guys, that is the wrap up of the last 2 weeks of news of the new Nissan Z. A lot has happened, a lot has transpired, but I think a lot of exciting things are happening. I think this is kind of a crescendo of hype for the car, and then eventually it's going to come out, everyone's going to get it and start tearing it apart, and I'm definitely going to be one of them. So I'm excited to make that happen for you guys. If there's anything you want to see regarding the new Nissan Z, please let me know, and I hope this video was entertaining and informative for you, so let me know what you think. Alright guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.